Hello, fellow faithful. It is Bulldog here, the world's greatest silver analyst, coming back for the 2021 summer split. Talking about today the range of outcomes for this CLG roster. First, there have been a fair amount of roster changes over the. By the way, got an ice cold Diet Dr. Pepper that I'm just going to be sipping on. There have been a fair amount of roster changes since the end of the spring split that really haven't gotten much spotlight and won't until the games start up. So for starters, Abadage is now the mid laner for 100 Thieves. Cloud9 has benched Sven for King, and I have been saying for years and years and years, Sven is overrated as heck. I don't think he's bad. I just think he's overrated. He's not like the clear and away best AD carry in North America. I thought he was like the third or fourth best AD carry in North America last split. But Cloud9 obviously agrees with me if they're bringing in someone else instead of Sven to play AD carry for them. And part of it could be, burnout from not really having any time off because they had to travel to MSI and all of that good stuff. I can understand him wanting to take a break. They're also changing coaching staff. Rainover is stepping down to be the academy coach and kind of a jungle specialist for them on Mithy, who I always thought was the better of the quote-unquote best bot in the West, is stepping up to the head coaching role. Dignitas is staying the same. They had a really good thing going last split. Fake God and Saligo and Neo, all young guys that really stepped up. Dardoch got to kind of take that leadership position that he's always been pining for and really stepped up to the plate and was, in my opinion, one of the should have been one of the front runners for MVP, but he didn't even get in the top 10 because people thought that Fake God was a more impactful player. That was Fake God was not top 5 in his role, but they had him as a top 10 player in the league. It was incredibly dumb. Evil Geniuses is... I think they just entirely got rid of... who was it? Deathly. They're bringing up Danny from Evil Geniuses Prodigies, not even Evil Geniuses Academy. Their amateur team, their AD carry from there, they're bringing up. That... In the short term, that should be a downgrade, but in the long term, it will probably be an upgrade because Deathly was just kind of a middle to bottom AD carry in the league. I know a lot of CLG fans at the start of the split were kind of mad at management for not getting Deathly instead of Wild Turtle, but it turned out that Deathly's champion pool was only Kaisa. That was the entirety of it, while Wild Turtle can play a variety of things at a high level. FlyQuest, surprisingly, is staying the exact same. They were not very good, and their ceiling is not all that high unless they have huge... Licorice has to return to form, Johnson has to take a huge step up, so does Diamond and Paulo Fox. Jose Dioto was solid. No real problem there. Golden Guardians has made a lot of changes. They brought in Solo, who subbed in for us in the play-in tournament. Just a toxic kind of mental boom kind of player, but, probably one of the top 10 top laners in North America. But I don't know if that was a good culture move, especially with young players like Iconic, Ablaze Olive and Shine. He could really kind of destroy the foundation that they're trying to build. Not really the veteran player you want to bring in. If I were them, I would have tried to get Darshan off of Cloud9 because he's a similar quality of player, but he brings so much more to a team in terms of just his mentality, his leadership, and he's worked with Stixay in the past, so they kind of already have that connection. I think Solo is a short-term upgrade, but a long-term downgrade. Niles definitely needs to spend some time in Academy. Iconic could have also used to spend some time in Academy as well. So, Golden Guardians, I wouldn't expect to place anywhere above 10th. They're still a really rough roster, made big changes, and can't really say they got a whole lot better. Immortals, I don't think they changed anything. It doesn't look like they did. They brought in a couple of guys from No Org to their Academy roster, who, if you didn't know, No Org was a team that it was like Viper, Onda, Five Fire, and then two guys in the bot lane that haven't had LCS experience. But kind of a bunch of... And Five Fire hasn't had LCS experience, but he is undisputedly the best player in Academy, or in Amateur, because he has proceeded to win Amateur 3 times in a row. And it is beyond insane that he's not on a roster. But he is on the analyst desk for this upcoming split. He's not playing because I assume he has offers for next split when some players' contracts run out. He's kind of the great hope of NA. He's as good as someone like a Blazed Olive or Palafox or Saligo. Then Liquid is the same. TSM is the same. TSM is paying stupid amounts of money for their roster for just very, very little success compared to what they pay. I think TSM and CLG's roster, they're fairly comparable in terms of the overall talent level. But CLG's players are a little less limited in what they can do because Power of Evil can only play control mages. Lost is just super unimpressive. He's not bad by any means, but he does not spark joy. So, let's get into the meat of who we're here to talk about, and that is CLG. We are bringing back the same 5 starting, and, well, we really only had the starting 5 for 3 weeks of last year, and we were a 500 team, which, being a 500 team with virtually no practice and picking up wins against Cloud9, and we had another really good win. So we kind of only had one really good strategy, and that was the double AD carry. Lucian made Tristana bot, and then Arella or Nautilus. Finn just doing whatever the hell he wants because Finn is fantastic, and Broxa just kind of hard farming the jungle. So the biggest strengths, Wild Turtle and Smoothie, they have achieved that mind meld. They're fantastic together. I think last split for both of them was as good as they've ever played in their career for either one. They were both very good. They were constantly winning lanes, getting solo kills. Turtle has always had problems with positioning too far forward in team fights or going forward at inopportune times. That's something that you're not going to change at this point in his career. It comes with the territory. That's what keeps him from being elite. But he's still very good. Smoothie was very, very good. Some of our shot calling, the shot calling structure was just kind of a mess because we started off with Griffin and RJS and Solo. And so Turtle and Smoothie were really the only constants, and they were good constants to build around. Pillbelter is a weaker player. He's the biggest weakness on our roster, in my opinion. He's not all that special. He demands more lane attention than you would think, and doesn't really convert that into late game advantages. He does have a wide champion pool. Hopefully, he has some good, knowledge and a lot of experience in kind of tough situations. He's been to Worlds multiple times. He's won splits. He's good enough to make a Worlds run with. In my opinion, I really want RJS to keep developing in Academy, keep getting better, keep expanding his champion pool and learning the role more, and eventually replace Pobelter, because RJS just has that much higher mechanical upside, as we see on champions of his, like his Zoe, where he's one of the best Zoe players in North America already. Broxa is weird. I don't think the hard farming jungle meta is really his style at all. It just does not vibe with him all too well. There's a different type of usefulness with the hard farming junglers, where you play kind of more of a preventative role with a lot of the champions, like an Udyr. At MSI, one of the best Udyrs I saw, I think it was River, PSG Talon against Cloud9, and Fudge was playing Scion, and every time Fudge would go to charge up a Q, River would pop in and stun him. And so things like that are what make your jungler very useful, just acquiring a lot of gold being a stat ball, and having like a stun button, and just being able to, just allowing your like damage dealers, especially like your AD carry, to be able to pop off and kill their front line first. That jungle meta may be changing because of the introduction of new catch-up experience, but I don't see it going anywhere right now. As far as I can tell, Udyr is still one of the most popular junglers. Morgana did get some nerfs, but when Broxa first played her, she's still stronger than when Broxa first played her, and she's still a very viable jungler. Rummel got nerfs, so Udyr is probably going to be 100% pick ban. I know Gwen right now is going to be 100% pick ban. And then in terms of junglers after that, I've been liking the Nautilus. He got buffs, but he can't really fight early, so I don't see that happening. Lee Sin is pretty strong, so we could see a resurgence of him somewhat. We maybe could see the resurgence of Lilia again. But I'm not entirely sure what the jungle meta is going to be, and it could be variable. Some teams could go with the more hard farming style, but the Rummel and Morgana got nerfed. Udyr will probably be banned every game, and so we don't really know who's gonna be pulled out. In top lane, Finn has the potential to be as good as anyone in top lane. Alfari is kind of the best top laner. We saw Fudge take a huge step forward, and like Fudge is in that top sphere with Someday and Impact, Alfari, and then Finn and Fudge would be your top 5 top laners. Right now, Finn has the ability to play right up there with any of them. He plays tanks well, he plays carries well. Finn is one of the best acquisitions CLG has ever made, and can really be the star of this roster. So everything went horribly wrong last split, and that's about as bad as a split can go for a team, because we just didn't have our players. We were scrambling. We had a certain coach talking to players to try to during the recruitment process to try and dissuade them from joining CLG, which is a dick move. So we were put at a disadvantage from that. Our reputation is in shambles of our own accord, so we're we were at a disadvantage because of that, but we did a good job of like living up to our name, being counter logic, going against the flow and grabbing some of these more veteran guys that are slightly more known quantities, but all have a high pedigree. Every single one of these players has been to Worlds. We know they can do it. So on the low end, I would say 8th is about the worst we're going to finish. Because, where are they? Golden Guardians here. They're going to be the last place team. No question about it. Immortals, they don't have much. They don't have a very high upside right now. Their upside is about 500, and we saw our floor with this roster was about 500. Cloud9, I think, could struggle quite a bit at the gate because they're coming off MSI. They haven't had much of a break. Players are going to be tired, not putting in as much effort, except for Fudge. I think Fudge is... Like, I wasn't a huge fan of Fudge at first because people were hyping him up way too much to be that he was already the player that he is now. He has done a fantastic job of taking criticism head on, understanding where he is as a player, still having fun, and working his ass off to improve. And I've really changed my tune on Fudge. Perks is definitely not the guy that we thought, that everyone thought he would be. He's about what I thought he would be, a good to great mid laner, but not someone that's just gonna come in and make everyone roll over and die. 100 Thieves started to collapse, but they should be pretty good. Abadage is an upgrade for them, and their roster is just so fucking stacked. Dignitas, they could regress, they could keep on the same track. I don't know. Evil Geniuses, I expect a little bit of a slow start with integrating Danny into that team. FlyQuest, I don't expect a lot from, so I would predict the bottom 2 teams to be Golden Guardians, FlyQuest, and then the worst for CLG is going to be 8th in my opinion. I think the highest we're probably going to finish is 3rd. I think 100 Thieves is absolutely loaded. If they did make a coaching staff change, Zix, rest in peace. Cloud9 is obviously going to be very good. Blabber, still dominant, especially when ahead, and no one knows how to get ahead of Cloud9 in North America, except for occasionally CLG. So as long as Cloud9 has a lead, they're going to be winning a lot of games. TSM will be pretty good. Huni apparently has brought a lot of shot calling value, and he's been better than expected. Team Liquid will be very good. Their roster is just loaded, and at our high end we can kind of compete with that echelon of team. But I don't think first is in the cards for us. Literally everything would have to go right. Everyone would have to play at like their peak form. Pobelter would have to play better than he's ever played in his career, and that's kind of the thing holding us back from first, that everyone's peaks. Pobelter is not high enough to really take this team to the top level. But teams that are kind of at that top level, like Cloud9, are paying, 4 times as much for their players as us. So, as long as I think the most likely outcome is we make a playoff. We earn a playoff spot, probably top 6. And then we are very competitive with... We potentially win a series. We're very competitive in whatever series we play. I think we win at least one series, and then kind of restore a bit of our reputation as a bottom feeder, and then continue to build from there. But if everything goes right, I don't I don't see it likely that we win the split if everything goes right, unless if a bunch of things go wrong with some of the other top teams. But I don't see that. I see that as very highly unlikely, but I could see third as a realistic outcome for us. I think eighth is the worst we're going to place, just because we saw this team go 500 last split. And that was, with a still jet-lagged Broxa, virtually no scrim time together. Everything just kind of in shambles because of, Denmark and visas and screw the Danes, all that good stuff. Except Broxa, he's cool. And there might be like one other Danish guy that's like pretty cool. But overall, it is a split that we can be fairly optimistic about. I don't think we have that kind of chance to bottom feed like we have in the past, just because Turtle and Smoothie are so stable. Finn is very stable, and we have the veteran shot calling and communication, and guys with high work ethic and a lot of knowledge about the game in general. Bioria, I think one of our analysts, was absolutely smurfing on the level 1s. Galen is a fantastic coach, and I think we're going to have that scrappy underdog mentality, kind of like Dignitas did last split, and really be able to, shut some people up about CLG. I have been talking for 22 minutes now, so I think that's about it. I'm excited to get back into watching and casting and all that good stuff. The first game should be in 2 days, since it is June 2nd, the day of recording this, and I should be uploading it the same day. Shout out to Sirsujy for providing the thumbnail for this. I'll shout him out in the comment in the description as well, and it's gonna be a fun split. Bot lane Smurfin, Finn, I think, can be really deadly in the Gwen, and maybe the jungle meta shifts towards something Brox is a little more comfortable on. But after that, go CLG. Take my faith. Thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff, share with your friends, and I will see you guys come game time.